Thank you, Engineer Dr. Kenneth Shigbe, for that. We want to take the opportunity to welcome all of you to today's press conference. I mean, you know that gathered here or inviting you here today is the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. We really appreciate all of you for making time to be with us here this morning. Before we get into the business of the day, and for those of you who have not really taken time to know what the Ghana Coalition is all about, I want to take the opportunity to mention, a few of the organizations that are part, so that for your interest, you also know who constitute the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. As you know, the coalition is a united front, a common platform of all actors against Galamsey who are working to harmonize advocacy work and action in the fight against Galamsey. The members of the coalition as it stands now, we have the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, we have One Ghana Movement, the Ghana CSO's platform on SDGs, Braze, CASA Initiative Ghana, General Transport, Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union, Peasant Farmers Association, Ghana Institution of Engineering and Technology Ghana, Graduate Students Association of Ghana, New Media Association of Ghana, Ghana Institute of Architects, Institute of Public Relations, Ghana Institute of Foresters, Africa Center for Energy Policy, Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana, Research Scientists Association, University Teachers Association of Ghana, Ghana Mine Workers Union, and some other citizens in their individual capacities. But today with us here at the high table joining us for this press conference, I want to acknowledge members from the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, represented here by Professor Akosia Adoma Ampofu. Please, let's give her a big hand. Yes. I guess most of you have received copies of the press statement that was issued yesterday by the Ghana Arts and Sciences Academy. If you have not, please do get a copy of it, and then let's see how we can get the information also out there. Again, on this platform, we also have Engineer Kojo Boateng of the Institution of Engineering and Technology Ghana. Please. And then joining us today also for this occasion, we have our ever-present Awula Sewa of Eco-Conscious Ghana. Please, let's give her a big hand. And then also at the table, as you all know, our convener is here with us, Engineer Dr. Ken Eshigbe is here. So with that introduction, I want to say that we are ready to roll. And I guess you all know why we are here. We have been following closely all the developments in relation to the fight against Galamsey. I mean, there are some good sides, there are some bad sides, but I think there's more that needs to be done, and that is why we think that we have to really echo those challenges that are still persisting. I wouldn't talk much to take the words out of Kenneth Shigbe and also the statement. I want to take the opportunity to invite him here to already share with us our observations and concerns regarding the fight against Galamsey. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Daryl. And thank you to the members of the coalition. The interesting thing is that all of you are members of the coalition. The coalition was started by the Media Coalition Against Galamsey. So this is one of the few presses where it is us as media organizing it. But you know, when I start doing this one, confusion will happen. So I've been constrained by some sheet of paper. Let me follow the constraints. And I'm going to read. The Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, an alliance of media, civil society organizations, professional bodies, concerned citizens, acknowledge the positive actions and steps taken by His Excellency the President, the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, and the IGP in the renewed fight against illegal and irresponsible mining. We are, however, deeply concerned about the inadequacies in some of the measures in the fight against Galamsey, an existential threat. The coalition, as the voice of the people, is particularly concerned about alleged involvement of key government actors in the illegal and irresponsible mining business and the complicity of some security personnel. It's against this background that the coalition wishes to bring to the attention of the state, the government, and the Ghanaians the following. 1. The government must fulfill the promise to revoke LI 2462. The government made a solemn vow to the people of Ghana that LI 2462, the legal instrument that opened our forest reserves to mining, will be revoked, not amended, but scrapped entirely. This was communicated through several public declarations by His Excellency the President himself before and after the 2024 elections, echoed by government officials, including the Minister of State for Government Communications, the Minister of Communications, and the CEO of the Gold Board on the 23rd of April 2025. In fact, as recently as 8th of May 2025, Professor Jerry S. Y. Kuma, Special Advisor to the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, equivocably stated, and I quote, "The President had listened to the concerns of the citizenry and the CSOs and has directed that the LI be revoked in its entirety." We are therefore disappointed that although the promise was made that the process to revoke LI would begin immediately Parliament resumes, however, to the best of our knowledge and belief, which was confirmed yesterday when members of the coalition met the chairperson of the subsidiary legislating committee, that there's no order of business of Parliament capturing this critical item. In our considered view, this demonstrates a lack of commitment by the government to carry out the revocation through, and it's a clear indication that the government is deliberately playing games with the citizens on this matter. Our demand for revocation of LI 2462 still stands to safeguard Ghana's forest and ecosystem services they provide for generations to come. We will not accept an amendment that responds to the interests of certain individuals, not taking into account the interests of the nation. The LI 2462 must be revoked, and it's with urgency. If the President does not act, the Environmental Protection into bracket minerals in forest reserve, mining in forest reserves Amendment Regulation 2025 will mature and come into effect today. As a people, our only recourse will be to continue our court case. This will be unfortunate at a time when Ghanaians expect a true reset in governance. The executive must not sit aloof while citizens are left to their fate to fight for the future of the very country we entrusted into the hands of His Excellency the President. There is a guideline that governed mining in forest reserves, and that guideline still exists. So that fear of saying that if we revoke it, there would be a gap, does not come up. That guideline prescribed that you mine up to 2% in production forest reserves. And it had a means of ensuring that at the very top of the governance was the Forestry Commission, so that if they don't permit you to go in there, you don't go and start mining. So there were examples of some mining that were happening in the forest reserves that we did not see the damage that we're beginning to see since this LI came into force. And you remember that even the Kakum forest, there was a time where somebody wanted to go into the Kakum forest. So our resolve to the President is that it is true that today the 21 days would crystallize. But His Excellency, with the majority that he has in Parliament, would still be able to cause the two-thirds majority to cause a revocation of that particular LI. So we pray that His Excellency does that. 2, end to police complicity and crash impunity of illegal miners. We commend the IGP and his team for stepping up efforts to combat illegal mining. It is, however, clear that the enforcement and compliance regime has cracks and needs to be fixed. The Kumferi confrontation, where the police allegedly shielded Chinese nationals engaged in Galamsey, is not only a demonstration of the complicity of some of the law enforcement agents in perpetuating this illegality, but also a disgrace to the entire national security apparatus that seems to favor foreigners caught in committing heinous crimes, particularly Galamsey. It is against this backdrop that we demand an immediate and transparent investigation, with all complicit officers from the district to regional command interdicted and prosecuted. We also demand public disclosure of all police transfers from Galamsey zones as promised by the Minister for Interior and the IGP. The seeming lapse in our law enforcement regime when it comes to Galamsey are not to say that our intelligence and preparedness to deal with armed incursions are weak. We are strong and we can do it if we want to do it. There are no justifications why illegal miners get away with all the atrocities they are committing across our country, displacing farmers, destroying rivers, and attacking public officers, both civilians and law enforcement agencies alike. The government must stop the kid gloves approach and act decisively. We have heard the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources tell us that this is terrorism. We've heard the IGP tell us that we are at war. If you have terrorists and you are at war with them, you don't deal with them like the way we are doing. 3, protect Forestry Commission staff. Another matter of grave concern is the increasing violent attacks on Forestry Commission officers. The brazen day-like attacks on these officers, even off duty, are a national embarrassment. There's an urgent need to guarantee the safety of Forestry Commission officers, men and women who risk their lives daily to protect our forest. If, as the CEO of Gold Board declared, mining in the forest reserves is haram to this government, then government must prove it. Repeal LI 2462. Arm our officers. The Forestry Commission should be giving enough firepower, more than what these mercenaries that have been brought in to provide security for these illegal miners have. Deal ruthlessly with apprehended officers and end the impunity. Number 4, we demand a state of emergency in the required areas now. And again, this is state of emergency in the required areas. We are not saying state of emergency in the entire country. If you read the Constitution, it talks about declaration of state of emergency in parts of the country, and that's what we're talking about. The recent near-fatal attack on Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisu, following an illegal mining raid at Bui Sobenso, as reported widely in the media on June 5th, 2025, by armed thugs, is not an isolated incident. It is a symptom of the lawless epidemic within the mining zones. Gun-wielding gangs now operate with terrifying boldness, and if this government does not act decisively, no one is safe. This justifies our long-standing demand for a state of emergency in critical mining zones, enforced by military presence, drone surveillance, asset freezes, to propose just a few strategies. Illegal mining areas, in our estimation, appear to be a training ground for mercenaries that threaten the national security and stability of our democracy. So a state of emergency would empower the security forces to nip this emerging national security threat in the bud. If this is not done urgently, the repercussions will be dire. Anything could have happened to Dr. Hannah Bisu, the journalists who were there that day. And to think, as to quote her, that machination was perpetuated by the police command we ask that that police commander be interdicted and investigated and punished. And when these punishments are done, the police should not just hide them under their police. They should let everybody know, so that the police would know that if they do wrong, they also would be punished. Number 5, prosecute politically exposed persons engaged in illegal mining. We commend our plea and are pleased with government's move to arrest the director of Akonta Mining Limited, Mr. Bernard Enchibu-Esako, after the coalition's press release, which you, the media, published widely. It is crucial to complete this process by arresting and prosecuting all directors of Akonta Mining Limited. When the media coalition against Galamsey did the check, there are 2 directors of that company. They are the same beneficial owners as well. So those 2 directors should not only be arrested, but prosecution should happen. We have, however, observed and condemned resoundingly the alarming pattern of some officials from the ruling NDC being involved in illegal mining. After the unresolved case of Honorable Oscar Labi, MP for our win, we have a petition with His Excellency the President that he has acknowledged receipt of. New reports implicate the NDC constituency chairpersons in Axim and Dunkwao of being deeply involved in Galamsey operations. This hypocrisy is unacceptable. While the NDC leadership under His Excellency the President publicly condemn illegal mining, the Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources and IGP have demonstrated positive actions to deal with the scourge of Galamsey. However, some of their local officials allegedly profit from it. We demand, 1, that immediate investigations into the case of Honorable Oscar Labi, MP for our win, and the chiefs that have accused him, that he has counter-accused. And these 2 chairpersons of Axim, constituency chairpersons of Axim and Dunkwao, by the police and national security, ensuring complete transparency and no room for political protection. 2, public disciplinary action by the NDC if any of these allegations are proven. 3, investigations of all mentioned in the Professor Frimpong Boateng report. There are a lot of politically exposed persons that have been mentioned in that report, and that should be looked into. And finally, transparent prosecution with no political protection. We've heard the president say that he will not cover anybody. We've heard the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources say that there would be no, what do they normally call it, order from above, so far as this is concerned. We need to see that translated into action. We have given the names of 3 of those who are in the ruling government. We also have the directors of Akonta Mining Limited, one of whom was with the former government, and we have a plethora of a lot of them in the Frimpong Boateng report who have all been implicated. You have the examples of Heritage Imperial, who were giving either a prospecting lease, and they went into one of the forest reserves with over 30 excavators. That case is also available. So that you, the media, have a lot of named officials who have been implicated in Galamsey, and a lot of them are politically exposed. And if you remember, in October last year at Kempinski, His Excellency the President stated that to deal with Galamsey is not the young boys who we find in the pit, but it is the kingpins. So our call to His Excellency the President is, as he's done with some of the promises he gave, he should also deal with the politically exposed persons, the kingpins who are involved in Galamsey. If our intelligence community will trace the money, where the funds are coming from, all the excavators that have been purchased, who are those who bought those excavators? Who are the people who rented them out? If our intelligence community will just look at who are those who come to seek bail for these people when the boys when they are arrested. If we look at that, we will be able to trace those people who are behind this to make sure that they are dealt with. There's a situation currently in the Hafo area where there's a firm that have been prospecting for over 10 years. There are some illegal miners who have spent about $5 million buying new excavators and dozers and encroaching on that. You won't tell me that is small-scale mining. 5 million. And you also remember that recently there's a Reuters report that is indicating that in the past 5 years, Ghana has lost $11.4 billion. $11.4 billion. What would that have done for this country? So we cannot allow some of these people to benefit from their connections to power and continue to rape our country, continue to pillage our environment, increase the cost of our medical treatment, cause all these spontaneous abortions that are happening amongst women, pollute all our rivers, and sentence all of us to extinction, and allow that to happen. That has to stop. For that to stop, there should be repercussions for that. Another thing that the president should also consider is that there was a promise of KPIs for all the DCs. We have not heard anything about that. It is important that every regional police commander, divisional police commander, district police commander, NDC, in the areas where Galamsey arrive, they have a KPI that says that there will be no Galamsey in your community. If there's any Galamsey in their community, there are two things that are happening. It is either that they are incompetent and cannot be a representative of His Excellency the President or the IGP, or they would be complicit in it. In both cases, they are not worthy representatives and the axe should fall on them. To conclude, the government must intensify its effort in combating Galamsey and refrain from justifying it on the grounds of unemployment and revenue generation. There's absolutely no reason why we are failing at this. It is not just about Galamsey. It is about the citizens' trust in the government, and it's about survival. It is about leadership and the security of our nation. It's about whether the government would honor its word and continue to betray the very citizen it swore to protect. It is about protecting our water bodies, forest reserves, not just for our survival, but also for our children and their children's children. The weight of this responsibility cannot be overstated. God save our homeland Ghana, but He will do it through you and I and the leaders that have been chosen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, convener, Engineer Dr. Ken Ashigbe. We want to take a few comments from representative of GCAC from the high table. So, Senor, since you came in late, a little bit late, we want to give you the first up so we don't miss you. Yes, okay, please.
All right. First of all, I want to thank the media for the support that we've all had. This is not just about us here. There's nothing for anybody here. This time can be used to make money for ourselves and our family. But Ghana is one ecosystem. It needs all of us. And if Ghana is going to survive and thrive, it needs all of us to make our contributions in every little way we can. We are trying to do our bit. You too would have to do your bit. The Ghanaians out there, if we don't fight for Ghana, who will fight for Ghana? And fighting for Ghana when you are dealing with strong establishment systems requires the effort of everyone. So with you, the media, and also with the entire citizenry, let's charge the citizenry to rise up to this occasion and let's fight to cure this problem. Our water bodies are going. Our forest reserves are going. Very soon, our children or their children's children will struggle to survive in their own country. Is that the world we want to leave for them? We cannot want to eat today and forget about how they will survive tomorrow. We cannot want to get our good wealth today and forget how our children will drink their waters tomorrow. We can't want to say we want to protect our FX reserves and grow it and forget about the ability of our children to even feed themselves in a time called tomorrow. For what end and to what end? The leaders of today are not supposed to think of today. They are supposed to think about today, but more importantly, they have to think about the generations yet unborn. Today, we should be planning for the lives of the children who will be 20 years from now. The children born today, we should be planning for their employment when they are there. We should be planning for their economic survival. We should be planning for the quality of food, the quality of water that they will have by that time. What are we doing today? We are sitting down, aloof, and just talking, doing nothing, pretending to be solving a problem, and yes, sir, we are destroying our own country. I have only one charge for all of us. The charge is the call that our own constitution places on us. We are defined as Ghanaians by who we are. The charge is on us to preserve the good name of our country. The pledge for us is a pledge to save our country. If our politicians will not listen, those we have given power to act and protect and save us all, not even for now, but also for our future, then it's time for us to start getting prepared, for us to rise up and go back to the politicians to charge them to start acting right. This is a precursor. If we are not going to get the right support from the leadership that we need, from the advocacy that we have all driven together, everybody should rise up and get ready. A day is coming where we have to fill our streets. We have to overwhelm and occupy every critical space till the right thing is done, so we can save our country. So we can save our country. The charge is on you, it's on me, it's on all of us. It's not just on Ken, it's not just on Darrell, it's not on the leadership sitting here. We are just a face. But this fight is a fight for you. So when the time comes, at any space you find yourself, speak against what is happening. Let the people you know things can't stay the same. Ghana is one. Whether it is NDC, it is MPP, nobody cares. That red, gold, green should always be that charge that drives us forward. God save our country, and rightly, like my brother said, it to save that country through the work of its people that God has charged, and that charge is on you and I. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Senor. He represents One Movement Ghana. One Ghana Movement, sorry. Yes. Thank you. Please, let's invite Engineer Kojo Boateng, Institute of Engineering and Technology, Ghana as well. Thank you.
Thank you. If I heard my colleague engineer, our convener, Engineer Ken Ashigbe, I think he said President Kempinski, his speech, he said there are some kingpins behind this Galamsey. Then I'll also ask, are these kingpins financiers of political parties? If not, why is it so difficult for us to stop this Galamsey? President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, before and after the election, promised to stop Galamsey. He cannot and must not disappoint us. The future of the land and the people depend how swift he acts. So our plea with him is to act now. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, let's give a big round of applause. I think we are tired of clapping, right? You should clap for them. Yeah, please, let's also invite our eco-conscious citizens. And then we'll hear from Prof. And I'm sure we can also get to hear some of the statements they made yesterday, which I'm sure most of you might have missed, but it will be very hard share for all of us attention. So Aulasewa.
Thank you. Good afternoon, or is it still morning? Good morning. First of all, thank you for organizing this. And I also want to thank the journalists, many of whom have put their lives on the line. I remember Erastus Asare Donko and also Tewi Alhiming, who was also attacked and was left fighting for his life. And you are still persisting. What is going on is just a case of wickedness. It's a case of wickedness. If you want to stop illegal mining, we can stop it today. We need the political will to stop it. I don't want to repeat what's been said already. But we know that in the run-up to the elections, when there was a lot of concern about what was going on, promises were made, and these promises have not been kept. And even a low-hanging fruit like LI 2462, which could have been revoked, we were led to believe it was being revoked, and in fact, some of the media were deceived, and what's going on is an amendment, which does not help us. Now, the government has done what is important to them, which is the e-levy and the betting tax. But we face an existential threat. We are being killed. We are being poisoned. And let me say this, even when the water is clear, it doesn't mean it's safe, because mercury and cyanide are colorless. So we need to sort of sit up. The house is burning. We need to declare a targeted state of emergency and go to the forest reserves, water bodies, remove the environmental terrorists. When you have terrorists, what do? You act accordingly. We need to obviously revoke LI 2462 and EI 144 with declassified parts of Achimota Forest. And I would say that we need to pause small-scale mining, more because we don't have the ability to monitor. And so if you keep on issuing licenses, the fact that I have a license, let's say I have a driving license, does that mean that I'm driving according to the highway code just because I have a driving license? Of course not. I have a driving license. I know I should obey the highway code. So it's not just a question of issuing license. It's a question of monitoring to ensure that the proper thing is being done. And we're unwilling or unable to do that, being allergic to enforcement. Not just when it comes to mining, building regulations, building on Ramsar sites, everything we're unable to monitor. So let's pause. And then, as has already been said, everybody who was named in Professor Frimpong Boateng's report should by now have been arrested, prosecuted. And those who are found guilty, we should have the polluter pays policy, which means that their assets should be sold and used towards the cost of reclamation, because that's a lot of money that is going to be spent. And let me say this, we talk about, oh, you can't stop illegal mining because of livelihoods. Do we know that about 2.5 million peasant farmers are at risk of losing their livelihood as a consequence of illegal mining? So let's think of other people and not only those engaged in what shall I say, criminal activity. I have to say that I don't even like the word Galamsey. I prefer us to say illegal mining. That you wouldn't have, as we had the vice president saying in the run-up to the election, that they were not going to stop Galamsey. They were going to try and regularize it. If the word we're using was illegal mining, you can't say I'm not going to stop illegal mining, because the word illegal tells you that it's criminal activity which needs to be stopped. So I'll end here, because everything that needs to be said has already been said. Ghanaians need to be angry enough to say, you cannot poison me. I was speaking to a doctor in the so-called illegal belt area, illegal mining area. He was saying that before, when people came with kidney disease, there were, let's say, over 50. Now you have teenagers, you have children coming with kidney disease. Let's all be very careful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Awula Sewa, for that. I want to invite Prof. With the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences to also share a few words. Thank you. Prof.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Akosua Adumako Ampofo. I'm a professor at the University of Ghana and a member of the group of concerned Ghanaians. I'm a fellow of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, and our president, Emerita Professor Isabella Kwache, has asked me to share some thoughts from the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. We are also in solidarity with the Coalition Against Illegal Mining, and we can only but share the sentiments, the fears, the frustration. But I will just pick some few points from a statement that the Academy issued yesterday, as well as a letter that was sent to the President. So, of course, we add our disappointment that government has sought to amend rather than to revoke LI 2462. And in that guise is not fulfilling its campaign promise to us. The Academy was set up in 1959. And our remit is to bring to the fore for ordinary Ghanaians to understand and to benefit from the rich science that is being produced, the knowledge that is being generated by our academics across this country. We have all the answers to our challenges in this country, and we want to challenge the government to make sure that it uses this knowledge that we have available to protect us from our problems and to solve the challenges that we face. But let me return to our statement. So, we are requesting the full revocation of LI 2462 because it represents a grave betrayal of environmental stewardship. Although it appears to regulate mining within reserves, it effectively empowers the president to permit mining even in globally significant biodiversity areas, a move that guts the protective purpose of Regulation 3.1 and renders the law incoherent. This is not just a policy misstep, it is a legal and constitutional failure. Forest reserves, by definition, are land set aside to conserve biodiversity, protect ecosystems, and maintain ecological balance. Allowing mining in such spaces is a contradiction in terms and in principle. The Forest Reserves Act 1927, Cap 157, and the Forest Protection Act 1974 strictly prohibit activities such as tree felling, obstruction of rivers, and extraction of forest produce. Mining does all of these things and more. It devastates landscapes, poisons water bodies, displaces entire ecological systems, as we have heard. So why institute an illegality against laws that we already have in this nation? Aula Sewa says that we are allergic. We are allergic to the regulations and laws of this country. Furthermore, the Academy challenges the legality of LI 2462 itself. The Minister for the Environment and the board of the then Environmental Protection Agency exceeded their mandate, under Section 62(1) of the now repealed Environmental Protection Agency Act 1994, when we know that our 1992 Constitution assigns regulatory and management power over natural resources to the appropriate commissions, in this case, the Minerals Commission, not the Minister or the EPA. More disturbingly, the LI purports to delegate this management power to no mean person other than the President, without any authority to do so. A power the Minister does not have cannot be delegated even to the President of Ghana. In any case, Ghana's track record in enforcing mining regulation is abysmal. Our laws abound, and yet the environment continues to deteriorate. To now codify the right to mine in forest reserves under the guise of regulation is to accelerate an already catastrophic decline. Revoking Regulation 3.2 alone is woefully insufficient. It would merely shift globally significant biodiversity areas into a short list of protected zones, leaving over 90% of the forest reserves exposed to mining. This is unacceptable. It is criminal. It is heartbreaking. Therefore, we demand the complete repeal of LI 2462, and in that we join all our brothers and sisters here. 2, we demand a binding presidential policy that unequivocally prohibits all forms of mining, exploration, prospecting, and extraction in all forest reserves across Ghana. Our Constitution holds that we must keep these resources for generations to come. We respectfully submit this petition to the President and to Parliament's Subsidiary Legislation Committee, urging immediate and decisive action. We further call for the termination of all ongoing mining and prospecting operations within forest reserves and the enforcement of all national moratoria on such activities. And we sent this to the President of Ghana yesterday, and thank you all for your attention. Thank you all here. Thanks to the press, to everyone who is committed to make sure that we have a country to live in a few years from now, not to mention our children and our grandchildren. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Thank you so much. Now, to the media, maybe what I also want to ask you to challenge our government on is the fact that the government listened to citizens after promising to repeal the e-levy, the betting tax, and emissions levy. They did it. Why is it that they promised to revoke LI 2462 and they are refusing to do it? We should take the word out. We should challenge them at every opportunity that we get. The Minister of State for Communications spoke. We've heard a number of people speak about the LI 2462. Why is it that that still persists? We need the President, His Excellency, to keep faith with the people.
We should remember something. We often forget that the broader population is actually supposed to be the government. We actually appoint representatives. So if you have a staff and your staff is not really working right or protecting your interests, you have a demand of options. You fire them. At the last count, we fired the last group of staff that we had hired. We have a new group of staff who have a mandate for another 4 years. We can't wait to die after that time. Would there be mass action? There must be mass action. The problem is with the docility of Ghana's middle class and the docility of the average Ghanaian. If you cannot fight for yourself, who should fight for you? Politicians know that when it's time for us to show face, people will be hiding in their rooms with their children. What will it hurt to take a gentle walk from, say, Tetekwashi all the way to to Flagstaff House, or from Black Star Square all the way to Parliament and then to Flagstaff House? For starters, you let them know how seriously you take the matter. But if they think that what is more serious for you are other things that are relatively less important, as to whether somebody, we argue and spend too much time on our air over things that are policy irrelevant. We spend more on entertainment than we spend the time on the critical things that are destroying our own future and economic and socio-economic survival. It is the media's mandate to redirect the conversation of this country. When you redirect that conversation, it gets into people's head what risk they are dealing with. When we all call, show up. Because there's only so much issuing statements, press conferences, providing analysis will do. When somebody is deliberately a madman, you can't cure him. Somebody says that I am a madman, you do anything, he'll be dancing even though he knows what he's doing. That is it. You know, it's like somebody who is sleeping. He says he is sleeping. You can tap him, he has decided that he is sleeping. Whether he's sleeping or not doesn't matter. He has decided that he's sleeping. That's where we are. The entire criminal gang in this Galamsey business have what we call, in policy terms, state capture. They have captured the state. Whether it is NDC or it is MPP, they have captured the state. The one reason why President Mahama, I believe, has even shown something small is because of the public pronouncements he made coming into the elections. He has to show that he has done some. But it's a difficult thing, and he himself has admitted it's difficult. If you don't force him, he will not move. So we are trying by this, but we need him to move. If matter comes, he and his family, they will leave this town. A lot of these politicians, they will leave this town. Where do their children go to school? I ask this question every day. My children go to GIS. I have a number of these politicians who are also part of the GIS family. Where are their children going? We are all taking our children to Abrochire. This summer, a lot of them are going. Most of the Ghanaians, you are sitting here. When Wahala gas, they will be gone. By what water you will drink, it will be your Wahala. They would have made the money out of here, and you will be suffering for the decisions that they have taken. So we cannot sit aloof. It is not about us, it's about you. Media, charge the people. And when it's time for us to show up, if all efforts to get them to listen to us fails, please, the little you can do for this country is to put your own interests aside and fight for something. Fight for your future. Fight for your children. Show up. Join that work. We are not going to come here and do anything violent. We will do everything peaceful. But let them see 1 million people on the streets. They will realize that, hey, the matter is not light. We have to act. But if we continue this way, they'll keep waiting for us to keep talking and talking and talking, and they'll spend the rest of the time discussing things that they think can keep confusing all of us. And that is not the matter for us. It's about our future. So yes, there must be mass action. If persuasion fails, the only force that a citizenry can put in place is not guns. It's only mass social action, which we must do. Imagine you have 1 million posts on posts. I'm not asking likes. You have 1 million of our Accra people, 2 million, 3 million. You have 10 million of Ghanaians posting on a day saying that they want this Galamsey to end. If everybody puts that on their status, do you know what you are telling the politicians? They know that if they continue this way, they will lose their power. Not in 4 years, they will lose their power now. It is for us to know that we have power in our collective action. We have power to save our country in our collective action. But if we want other people to do things for us, who will? When everybody wants somebody to do something for all of us, who will do anything for any of us? No one. So this moment, let's all charge ourselves and get ready for something as important as this. This is not NDC, this is not MPP. This is a matter that pertains to our survival. For our children, our children's children. It is something that you should be counted for. In life, one day, people should see that when it was critical, you as a Ghanaian, wherever you were, you stood up. You don't need money, at least your body and your fiscal voice, your shout, your charge, in all honesty, in passion for Ghana, is something that mattered and it counted. So yes, it must be done. Now to the other question, which was, you were asking what actions. The first thing is a policy decision by the government that it should be revoked. The processes for revoking LIs are clear in Parliament. But it's a decision that the executive will have to initiate. The executive has failed to take that decision. They took a decision to rather amend. We heard the executives. The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, we have met him a number of times. He's told us that it will be repealed. We've heard all kinds of comments from other significant people. But somehow, the going is not going because the criminal gang are pulling those who must go. So you see a minister like the Lands and Natural Resources, like Honorable Boa, trying to move. But he's moving and he's not moving. He's putting the energy by standing at one place. He's running by standing at one place. Because when he moves 10 kilometers, his own people are bringing him 20 kilometers backwards. If he doesn't get the support of all of us, we'll get nowhere. He has a mandate, so he has to account for us, to us. Please, it's a decision that the government must take. So that's why we go back to the government. We speak to the president. Make that call. When you make that call, everything else will be aligned. Then the third one was mining. Look, I am a finance and economic policy analyst. I'm a businessman. I understand what is going on, but it is irresponsible economic management. It is myopic view to policy management that makes people want to think about today alone and forget about tomorrow. The same way that we ended up eating our future through debt, and we are reeling on it today, is what we are doing now with our basic resources, which is water that people need for survival and our forest reserves. Galamsey, we are almost making no income. What fiscal income is being made from Galamsey? Ask any of the politicians. It's almost zero. It's almost zero. As we speak today, it's practically the profit that Gold Board makes from providing services around it. That is an SOE which you have to provide that service anyway. There's no tax income in there. Zero. So what are we doing? What exactly do we think we are doing? We are trying to build a certain CD reserve. You must be myopic to think that this is the only thing that can save your country. How about those countries that don't have gold? How have they survived? Think about it. Sometimes we behave as if the school, we didn't go some. But the school, no, it didn't go through us. I don't understand which one. You should see that this is an existential risk. This is how far you can go with something. So if tomorrow gold ceases to be a matter of value, what will happen? Ghana will end? Hell no. People can't even have their farms running. We are swapping food for just gold. It's okay if we can do it responsibly and we can do it legally. So we get the optimal returns and we invest back and we save our vegetation. Is that what we are getting? No. I sat in the helicopter with the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources when they were doing the water gas thing. We went over. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. You should see it for yourself. You will be scared what we are doing to ourselves. A whole village is surrounded by, I don't know whether it's yellow water. I don't know what water. What are they drinking? And you go into that village and they are their chief, because he's been bought. He is bringing bottled water from Accra. And he thinks that shows that Walande. Jimmy. Your people don't have water. You are happy that you can serve somebody bottled water. Meanwhile, you have a river that was passing there. You're not talking about how you are processing the water from your river bodies and making it consumable for your entire people. You are taking pride that water, Belakwa, that is produced in Accra has been brought to a place where there's big river passing. Now you have painted it yellow. There's something wrong with us. We are not considerate people as Ghanaians. Our leaders don't have a good heart. For the most part, whether it's the chieftaincy to what, most part, our leaders don't have a good heart. They are all focused on eating today ahead of tomorrow. We focus on eating today ahead of tomorrow. We want to look good today instead of tomorrow. My father never did that. I wouldn't be here. My father would park his car because he didn't have money to buy fuel. He will park it where we are supposed to be picked up and walk and go back home and come back because his car could just move only 2 times. That's the petrol money he had. That's a man who sacrifices for his children's future. What are we doing today? We are chopping everybody's money, including chopping the money for side checks, and we can't even pay school fees for the future. Does that look like proper leadership? Please, nobody should tell you economic issues are the reasons why you mortgage the future of your generations. You mortgage your environment. You mortgage your sustainability and admit and subscribe to environmental existentialism. It's nonsense. Sorry, I beg you. I've forgotten where I am. Nonsense.
So we'll take the last round of questions if there are any. I don't need to say any more from what Senor has said. Any last round of questions? Any questions? Okay, I guess we don't have any questions. No questions, right? All right. So we want to then thank you once again, and please get the message out, and we encourage you to also come back if you need anything. And really, when you see the politicians, just keep pushing. I don't know, Ken, have any last remarks for us as well? You have questions?
No questions. Danya makulo. I'm going to okay. You me bomb ding na ma hwe se metumi abono tofa.
No.